Within the vast treasury of the Blessed One's teachings, there is a group of practices called the 37 Aids to Awakening, that is, 37 crucial elements supporting the path to enlightenment. This is the essence of wisdom that the Buddha distilled over 45 years of teaching. Among them, the 7 factors of awakening stand out for their profound practical meaning. The Buddha once likened these factors to 7 medicinal herbs that heal the sicknesses of the mind when used correctly. These 7 factors can treat every kind of mental ailment, from anxiety and anger to sloth and agitation. Therefore, if a practitioner wishes to walk firmly on the path of liberation, they cannot avoid studying and practicing the 7 factors of awakening. There is a moving story preserved in the scriptures that shows the power of these 7 factors. In the final years of his life, the Buddha fell ill many times. On those occasions, he often asked great disciples such as Venerable Kassapa and Venerable Moggallana to recite the 7 factors of awakening for him. Each time he listened to this teaching, his mind immediately became calm and clear, and even the illness in his body eased. This does not mean the 7 factors possess some mystical power to cure the body, but that when the mind is balanced, lucid, and abiding in the Dhamma, even physical pain becomes lighter. That story shows that the 7 factors are a divine remedy not only for the monastics of old, but for anyone living in this world today. Why, then, do we modern people need the 7 factors of awakening? Because in every mind there are hidden ailments such as greed, anger, drowsiness, restlessness, and doubt. In Buddhist teaching, these are called the 5 hindrances. When the hindrances bind us, we lose our freedom, are swept away by emotions, and can no longer see reality clearly. The 7 factors of awakening are the antidote. Each factor corresponds to a particular mental illness. When the mind is ruled by anger, we cultivate the factor of joy to soften the heart. When the mind is agitated and unsettled, we cultivate the factor of tranquility to return to stillness. When doubt surrounds us, we arouse the factor of mindfulness to see reality clearly. In this way, the 7 factors keep us from getting stuck and help us regain balance and clarity. The Buddha repeatedly affirmed in many discourses that anyone who cultivates the 7 factors of awakening fully and skillfully will certainly attain true knowledge and liberation. This shows that the 7 factors are not distant theory, but a practical path leading directly to Nibbana. We can imagine the 7 factors as 7 steps of a stairway. To climb to the summit of awakening, not a single step can be missing. If one step is absent, the practitioner falters and stops midway. Each factor has its own role, and together they form a complete whole. Contemporary meditation masters often emphasize that the 7 factors are not only for monastics. Laypeople living busy lives can also find peace in every moment if they know how to apply them. Master Inta once taught that knowing the Dhamma is not enough. One must live with the Dhamma. The 7 factors are for living, not for mere words. Memorizing the list brings no benefit. Only when we bring mindfulness into each step, investigation into each thought, and energy into each action does the Dhamma truly become our breath and lifeblood, nourishing our lives. Let us look at our daily life to see the effect of the 7 factors. When we sit down to eat but our mind runs to work, worrying about tomorrow, we lose the joy of the present moment. But with the factor of mindfulness, knowing clearly that we are chewing, swallowing, and breathing, the mind becomes calm and happiness arises immediately. Or when facing a difficulty at work, instead of getting angry or giving up, if we apply the factor of investigation, we pause and observe. Is this truly misfortune? Is there another way to resolve it? Then wisdom opens, and we see paths that our agitated mind previously missed. The commentaries call the 7 factors of awakening 7 petals of an enlightenment flower. Each factor is a petal, and when each blooms fully, they form a radiant blossom of awakening. But flowers do not bloom in a day. They need soil, water, and sunlight. Likewise, the 7 factors must be nourished in every moment of life. The Buddha taught that, like a seed sown in the earth, if watered by rain, it will naturally sprout, grow, and bear fruit. Those who cultivate the 7 factors in this way will certainly arrive at liberation. An easy analogy is this. The 7 factors are like a medicine chest for the heart-mind. When the mind falls ill, we choose the right medicine. When drowsy, we arouse energy. When tense, we cultivate tranquility to relax. When direction is lost, we return to mindfulness to see the present clearly. Each factor is a kind of medicine, and the practitioner is their own physician, knowing how to treat themselves. Importantly, the 7 factors are not 7 sequential rungs that must be climbed one by one. They are 7 elements that coexist, complement, and balance one another. When the mind is too weak, we need the 3 activating factors: investigation, energy, and joy. When the mind is too tight, we need the 3 calming factors: tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. Mindfulness stands at the center, coordinating both groups. In the scriptures, the Buddha used the image of a musician. If a string is too tight, the sound is harsh. If too loose, it will not ring. Only when tuned just right does the tone become full and round. So it is with the mind. The 7 factors help us adjust and keep balance, avoiding extremes. Today, people try every method to cure stress: exercise, vacations, psychotherapy. Yet the Buddha offered us a way to transcend it more than 2,000 years ago. If we know how to apply the 7 factors, we can keep peace right in the noisy streets and amid stressful work. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Each time you take a step in mindfulness, the 7 factors of awakening are blooming in you." The 7 factors are not far away. They are present in the breath, the step, and the smile whenever we know how to return. Thus we understand why the Buddha called the 7 factors the path to liberation. These 7 are not concepts reserved for scholars, but living principles and methods of mental training that anyone can practice. We study the 7 factors not to memorize them, but to become free people who master their emotions and live peacefully. These 7 are lamps that light the night of life, helping us no longer lose our way in the forest of afflictions. When speaking of the 7 factors of awakening, we must first understand the meaning of this term in the original scriptures. In Pali, the 7 factors of awakening are called Satanga. Bojjhanga are the parts or elements that help bring about enlightenment. In other words, if these 7 elements are not cultivated, liberating wisdom cannot fully develop. In the Sayutta Nikaya, the Buddha repeatedly taught the monks that those who nourish and develop the 7 factors of awakening will no longer be obscured by defilements. The mind will shine and incline toward liberation. His way of expression is very down-to-earth. The 7 factors are not a philosophical doctrine, but a way of living that can be realized right in the present moment. When the mind is bound by sensual desire, the 7 factors of awakening are the door to freedom. When the mind is scorched by anger, the 7 factors are a cool stream that washes it clean. When the mind falls into obscurity, the 7 factors are a lamp that illuminates the way. A key point is that the 7 factors do not stand alone. They belong to the integrated system of the 37 aids to awakening, together with the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of spiritual power, the 5 faculties, the 5 powers, and the Noble Eightfold Path. All 37 form a single coherent system that the Buddha presented as the only path leading to Nibbana. Within this system, the 7 factors hold a special place. They are both foundational and consummating. Foundational, because these 7 must begin to arise from the very start of practice. Consummating, because they are the direct factors that ripen the fruit of awakening. In ancient commentaries such as the Visuddhimagga by Venerable Buddhaghosa, the 7 factors are compared to 7 lamps that dispel the night of ignorance. The commentary emphasizes that if a practitioner wishes to realize liberating insight, they cannot rely on a single factor alone, but must nurture all 7 in balance. Each factor has its own function while supporting the others. Mindfulness keeps the mind alert. Investigation opens wisdom. Energy arouses vitality. Joy uplifts the mind. Tranquility softens and lightens it. Concentration steadies it. And equanimity keeps it balanced. Like 7 strings tuned into harmony, the 7 factors join to form the music of liberation. The scriptures also call the 7 factors the medicines that counter the 5 hindrances: sensual desire, ill will, sloth, torpor, restlessness, worry, and doubt are the 5 great obstacles that block calm and prevent wisdom from arising. Each of the 7 factors has the power to counteract one or more hindrances. For example, mindfulness disperses doubt. because when we are clearly present, the mind is no longer confused. Investigation dispels blindness, because when we examine phenomena, ignorance is lifted. Energy overcomes sloth torpor. Joy transforms ill will. Tranquility soothes restlessness. Concentration gathers the mind. Equanimity cuts attachment. For this reason, the 7 factors are called 7 medicinal herbs for the heart-mind. To make things easy to understand, the Buddha often used familiar images. He likened the 7 factors to a flock of birds crossing the sky. If all 7 are present, the flock flies strong. If one is missing, the flock becomes weak. The point is that a practitioner cannot pick only a favorite factor and neglect the rest. Some people prefer joy and want to be cheerful all the time, but without equanimity, that joy easily turns into attachment. Others prefer concentration and want the mind to be still, but without investigation, that stillness is only an empty quiet that does not lead to wisdom. The 7 factors demand even, non-biased cultivation. An Ajahn once taught, the 7 factors are medicine for every illness of the mind. Used at the right time, they cure it all, and used, they are merely bottles sitting in the cabinet. This saying is highly suggestive. It reminds us that book knowledge of the 7 factors is like owning medicine without taking it. Only when we bring the 7 factors into daily life and apply them in each situation do we truly receive healing. A simple example: during sitting meditation, if we get sleepy, that is sloth torpor. We should then arouse the factor of energy, or open the eyes, wash the face, or change posture to brighten the mind. If the mind becomes overeager and tense, we should cultivate the factor of tranquility, relax, and soften. If the mind is uncertain about why it is meditating at all, we should arouse the factor of mindfulness, recollect the purpose, and return to the breath. Situations like these occur daily in practice, and the 7 factors are the toolkit for adjusting the mind. In the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha also stresses that if a practitioner contemplates the breath with the 7 factors fully present, the path of liberation opens right in the here and now. That is, simply sitting and following the breath while nurturing all 7 factors already constitutes complete practice. The breath is not only a means of calming, but the very soil in which the 7 factors sprout and grow. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "When you walk in mindfulness, the 7 factors are present in each step. When you breathe in awareness, the 7 factors bloom in each breath." This is a poetic reminder that the 7 factors are not far away but already present in our steps, our breathing, and our smile. The question is whether we recognize and nurture them. Looking more deeply, we see that the 7 factors themselves embody a middle way. 3 factors invigorate and lift the mind: investigation, energy, and joy. 3 factors soothe and settle it: tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. Mindfulness stands at the center to keep the balance. When the mind is too weak, we rely on the first group. When the mind is too tight, we rely on the second. This is the art of practice that the Buddha discovered. No extremes, no bias, always adjusting toward balance. In short, in the scriptures, the 7 factors are defined both clearly and intimately. They are 7 elements leading to awakening, 7 medicines that heal mental illness, 7 lamps that dispel ignorance. In practice, they are the means by which practitioners self-adjust, self-heal, and self-nourish. They are not reserved for a few. They are open to everyone, at any time and place. The Buddha taught that whoever cultivates the 7 factors walks the path of the Buddhas. That is why we must grasp this framework before delving into each factor in detail. Among the 7, the factor of mindfulness is placed first. This is not accidental, but reflects a fundamental truth. Without mindfulness, the other factors cannot arise. Mindfulness is like the foundation of a house. If it is not firm, every structure above will collapse. It is also like the heart that pumps blood throughout the body. Without it, the other factors are only empty names. In Pali, mindfulness is called sati, whose root meaning is right remembrance or accurate recollection. In daily life, we often say, "Remember this," or "Don't forget that." But mindfulness in the Dhamma is not ordinary memory. It is the alert capacity to register and know what is happening in the present. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha taught that this is the sole path leading to the purification of beings, to the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, to the disappearance of pain and grief, to the attainment of true knowledge, to the realization of nibbana. That is the four foundations of mindfulness. Contemplation of body, feelings, mind, and phenomena is the very ground from which the factor of mindfulness arises. Mindfulness is not tensing up to remember. It is a clear and relaxed attitude. When walking, we know we are walking. When eating, we know we are eating. When breathing, we know we are breathing. This knowing does not judge or embellish. It simply recognizes. Thich Nhat Hanh often teaches that mindfulness is the energy that brings us back to the present moment. When we drink a cup of tea in mindfulness, the whole universe is present in that cup. This shows that mindfulness is not confined to books, but is our daily breath, smile, and step. To see the value of the mindfulness factor, look at your habits. Have you ever eaten a meal while your mind was busy with unfinished work or replaying an argument? It is as if the rice enters your mouth without you tasting its sweetness. That is living without mindfulness, the mind running to past or future and losing the present. The mindfulness factor helps us stop and recognize that we are eating, chewing, and swallowing. With this simple knowing, the mind settles at once and happiness blossoms. In meditation, mindfulness is compared to the rope that tethers an elephant. The wild elephant represents the distracted mind. Without a rope, it runs amok and causes damage. When tethered, it gradually becomes gentle and useful. So too with mindfulness. It keeps the mind from chasing after delusion, and from there concentration and wisdom can be developed. The masters emphasize that mindfulness must go together with clear comprehension. Mindfulness is remembering, while clear comprehension is seeing clearly. If there is only mindfulness without clear comprehension, it easily becomes a lifeless repetition. Conversely, if there is clear comprehension but a lack of mindfulness, that knowing is not continuous and is easily broken. Therefore, the mindfulness factor is a union of remembering and seeing, helping the practitioner abide steadily in lucidity. A great benefit of the mindfulness factor is that it cuts off the cycle of defilements. Normally, when a contact occurs, say someone speaks a harsh word, anger arises immediately. But if there is mindfulness, we timely notice, my mind is irritated. With just that recognition, the anger is already reduced by half. If we continue to maintain mindfulness, the anger no longer has the strength to flare up. In other words, mindfulness is like switching on a light in a dark room, making imaginary snakes disappear. Master Mahasiddhata taught that mindfulness is like a gatekeeper who knows clearly who goes in and out. His meaning is that mindfulness always stands at the doors of the sense faculties, observing phenomena as they arise and pass away, not letting delusive thoughts slip in unconsciously. A person without mindfulness is like a house with no one watching over it. Thieves come and go freely. A person with mindfulness keeps the house protected. In modern life, the mindfulness factor is all the more necessary. Today's society is full of forces that scatter the mind. Smartphones, social media, work pressure. They often put us in a state of multitasking, the mind pulled in countless directions. Without mindfulness, we easily fall into stress, anxiety, and insomnia. But when mindfulness is present, we know how to pause, take a deep breath, and recognize our feelings, and the mind immediately settles. It is not surprising that many scientists today acknowledge that mindfulness practice is precisely the mindfulness factor, able to improve memory, reduce stress, and heal many psychological disorders. Even so, we should note that the mindfulness factor is not merely a technique for stress reduction. If we stop there, we have only touched the outer shell. In the Buddhist teaching, the mindfulness factor has a deeper aim, to nourish the wisdom of awakening. When the mind is always alert, we clearly see impermanence, suffering, and non-self in all phenomena. That is the greatest value of the mindfulness factor. Consider an example. When you observe the in and out breath, at first it may simply calm the mind. But if you sustain it, you begin to see that the breath is always changing. No two breaths are the same. From there, you see clearly the nature of impermanence. Then you notice there is no I controlling the breath. It arises and ceases by conditions. That is insight into non-self. It all begins with alert recognition, the mindfulness factor. Ajahn Brahm often advises, Treat mindfulness as your best friend. When you are sad, it is there. When you are happy, it is also there. Mindfulness does not judge, it simply listens. This saying clarifies the compassionate quality of mindfulness. Mindfulness is not for control or imposition, but to embrace every experience. Whether pleasant or unpleasant, the mindfulness factor is an indispensable foundation for the path of awakening. It keeps the mind alert, prevents defilements, nourishes happiness, and opens wisdom. If the 7 factors of awakening are a great tree, mindfulness is the root system sunk deep into the earth. If the 7 factors are a lamp, mindfulness is the first flame that lights it. If the 7 factors are a piece of music, mindfulness is the drumbeat that keeps the harmony. Whoever knows how to live with mindfulness is walking, step by steady step, on the path of the Buddhas. If the mindfulness factor is the foundation of wakefulness, then the investigation of states factor is the next step that allows wisdom to arise. In Pali, investigation of states is called Dhamma Vicaya, meaning the observation, analysis, and inquiry into phenomena. The word yama here does not only mean the Buddha's teachings, but also includes all mental and physical phenomena occurring in life. The word VK means analysis, investigation, and deep inquiry. Therefore, the investigation factor is the capacity to observe and analyze reality to discern what is wholesome and unwholesome, what is true and false, which path leads to peace and which path leads to suffering. In many discourses, the Buddha encourages disciples to examine the Dhamma and investigate it, not to believe blindly. This is what distinguishes Buddhism from many other religions. Faith is not blind. It must be illuminated by wisdom. Even as he was about to enter final nibbana, the Buddha reminded, "Be a lamp unto yourselves. Take the Dhamma as your lamp." This shows that investigation is freedom of thought and independence of intellect. A practitioner is not merely to follow the teacher's words, but must use their own mindfulness and discernment to observe and to understand through direct experience. Ancient commentaries often liken investigation to a bee seeking nectar. The bee does not panic and flit about wildly. It alights calmly on each flower, tastes the fragrance, selects good nectar, and avoids poisonous sap. Likewise, a mind endowed with investigation discerns which teachings are worth cultivating and which should be avoided. Let us look at modern life. When you pick up your phone, there are hundreds of choices. Read the news, scroll social media, study, or read a sutta. Without investigation, we easily drift into the unwholesome, wasting time and generating more afflictions. With investigation, we pause to ask, does this nourish wisdom and happiness, or does it merely add agitation? That very questioning is the investigation factor at work in the mind. Ajahn Mun once taught, "Do not chant or sit just for the sake of doing it. Look straight into your own mind. Which states are wholesome and which are unwholesome? You must see this clearly. That is true practice." This teaching emphasizes investigation. Meditation without investigation is like driving with your eyes closed. You do not know where you are going. Investigation opens our eyes, showing the path and revealing what is arising. A great benefit of the investigation factor is that it helps distinguish between defilements and wholesome states. For example, during meditation, a thought about the past may arise. Without investigation, we are swept away and sink into memories. With investigation, we immediately recognize that it is just a wandering thought, not real. Thus we let it go and return to the breath. Likewise, when a moment of compassion arises, investigation recognizes that this is a wholesome state to be nourished. This discernment is crucial because it determines whether we move toward awakening or continue to drift. Another image used in the commentaries, investigation is like a goldsmith. To find true gold, the craftsman must carefully observe each ingot, melt it, test it in fire, and remove impurities. Similarly, the practitioner uses investigation to test the phenomena of the mind. What is real? What is false? What is stable? What is illusory? Only through such patient observation is wisdom refined. In the Sayutta Nikaya, the Buddha teaches that when a practitioner observes, analyzes, and illuminates phenomena, the investigation factor arises and nourishes wisdom. This shows that investigation is not mere intellectual reasoning, but direct contemplation and insight meditation. Investigation does not argue philosophy. It observes reality. This body is breathing. This mind is generating a wandering thought. This feeling is changing. That is analysis and lived experience, not theory. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often reminds us that we must learn to recognize the seeds in the mind. There are seeds of anger, seeds of love, and seeds of sadness. Investigation is the capacity to know which ones should be watered and which should be left alone. This is a very accessible way to express it for laypeople. When angry, we know that it is an unwholesome seed, so we stop, breathe, and do not water it. When loving, we know it is a wholesome seed, so we nourish it with care and loving speech. Another example in daily life. Suppose you are torn between pursuing a large profit that risks wrongdoing or choosing a path that brings less material gain but remains pure. If the investigation factor is present, you will ask yourself whether this choice brings lasting peace or only regret. Thanks to that illumination, you choose the right path. Without investigation, you are easily led by craving. A point to note is that the investigation factor is not judgment or criticism, but honest observation. If we turn investigation into judgment, we fall into anger or conceit. If we understand it correctly, investigation is simply the light that reveals the truth as it is. In the course of practice, investigation also helps dispel one of the 5 hindrances, delusion. A deluded person does not see the Dhamma and lives dimly in ignorance. But when investigation is present, everything becomes clear. Impermanence, suffering, and non-self appear in each moment. For this reason, many meditation masters advise that when practicing meditation, do not crave any special state of peace, but cultivate investigation and observe the truth that is unfolding. The investigation factor is the living operation of wisdom. It helps us distinguish wholesome from unwholesome, true from false, guiding us along the right path. If mindfulness is the lamp that lights the room, investigation is the pair of eyes that sees all things in that light. If mindfulness is the ground, investigation is the seed of wisdom that grows upon it. Whoever knows how to observe and analyze phenomena will never lose their way, for they hold in their hands the compass of wisdom. After mindfulness to keep the mind alert and investigation to illuminate and analyze, the practitioner needs an exceedingly important factor, the energy factor. This is the power that keeps us from stopping halfway, from becoming discouraged or giving up, and helps us continue steadily along the path. If mindfulness is the lamp and investigation the observing eyes, then energy is the pair of legs that carries us forward. In Pali, energy is called viriya, rooted in vira, meaning the strength of a hero, a person of courage. Therefore, viriya is not merely diligence. It is a steadfast, unretreating effort, like the strength of a warrior entering battle, unshaken by danger. When properly nourished, energy becomes a durable current that supports all the other factors of awakening. The Buddha taught that those who do not live heedlessly do not die. Those who live heedlessly are as if already dead. This shows that energy is not only a virtue but a condition of survival on the spiritual path. A practitioner may understand the Dhamma in many ways, but without energy, all that understanding remains theory. Conversely, a person with energy, even practicing a simple method, will gradually progress, just as drops of water falling continuously will fill a jar. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha teaches the 4 right efforts: to prevent unarisen unwholesome states, to abandon arisen unwholesome states, to cultivate unarisen wholesome states, and to maintain and increase arisen wholesome states. This is precisely the foundation on which the energy factor operates. In practice, we do not let the mind drift, but continually apply effort in these 4 directions. For example, when an unwholesome thought has not yet arisen, we stay vigilant so that it does not arise. When a thought of anger has arisen, we strive to let it go. When loving kindness has not yet arisen, we find ways to plant it. When peace is present, we strive to sustain it. This entire process is the manifestation of the energy factor. Ancient commentaries compare energy to a person rowing across a river. If one keeps rowing, no matter how strong the current, one will eventually reach the other shore. If one rows a few strokes and then stops, the boat will be carried back by the water. Likewise, a practitioner who does not maintain energy will be swept away by the current of life and defilements. In modern life, energy can be understood as perseverance, not abandoning one's practice halfway. For instance, someone resolves to meditate every day, but after 3 days stops because they see no results. They forget that the fruits of meditation cannot come in a few days. They require many months and years. Without the energy factor, we are easily drawn into the mentality of wanting things fast and convenient, so common in today's society. Master Pa Auk emphasizes that energy is the root of concentration and wisdom. Without energy, mindfulness is not steady, concentration is not firm, and wisdom does not arise. This shows that energy does not stand alone. It is the driving force that nourishes the entire awakening process. If we sit in meditation without energy, we slip into sloth and torpor. If we study the Dhamma without energy, we quit halfway. If we do good deeds without energy, we lose heart when difficulties appear. A very familiar example. Imagine you are exercising in the morning. On the first day, you are enthusiastic. On the second day, you are still motivated. By the 10th day, when it rains or you are busy, you easily lose heart. If you skip the 10th day, the 11th and 12th become even harder. But if you have energy, you overcome that obstacle and the healthy habit is sustained over the long term. Spiritual practice is the same. In the progression of cultivating the 7 factors of awakening, energy also helps dispel the hindrances of sloth and torpor. These are obstacles that make the practitioner lazy, sleepy, and lifeless. At such times, simply arouse energy, perhaps by getting up to do walking meditation, washing the face, or reminding yourself of your purpose and practice, and vitality will return. The Buddha once told how he overcame bouts of drowsiness during his ascetic period through his determination not to be heedless. This story is a vivid testament to the power of energy. However, energy also needs balance. If too urgent, energy turns into tension and the mind is not at ease. If too weak, energy is insufficient to carry us far. Therefore, the Buddha taught that energy goes together with mindfulness and concentration, like a rider who knows how to adjust the reins. When the horse is slow, one urges it on. When the horse is too fast, one restrains it to maintain rhythm. So too with the cultivation of energy, we must adjust appropriately, neither lax nor forceful. Ajahn often reminded his disciples, do not rush to seek results. Proceed step by step like a farmer sowing seeds. The farmer does not force the seeds to sprout, but simply tends the soil, water, and sunlight, and the seeds sprout naturally. This is right energy, steady and persistent without impatience. Another example in daily life. When you do volunteer work, you may begin full of excitement, but gradually, when facing difficulties, you easily become discouraged. If the energy factor is present, you remind yourself that this work is meaningful. Though hard, it brings long-term benefit. Energy helps you continue so that wholesome seeds can grow strong. In conclusion, the energy factor is an unretreating source of power. It helps the practitioner maintain continuous practice, not being toppled by sloth or laziness. If the 7 factors are a vehicle, energy is the engine that moves it forward. If the 7 factors are a mountain, energy is the pair of legs that carries us to the summit. Whoever knows how to nourish energy will certainly not stop halfway, but will, step by steady step, reach the shore of awakening. When the mind is already mindful and awake, illuminated by investigation and energized by effort, a fresh and gentle state naturally appears within. This state is the factor of joy, the pure happiness that arises from wholesome states. It is a joy completely different from the pleasures of the 5 worldly sensualities. It does not depend on money, fame, or sensory gratification. It comes from abiding in the Dhamma. In Pali, joy is called piti. The commentaries often distinguish 5 levels of piti. Sometimes it is just a slight shiver arising in the body, like a cool current flowing through. Sometimes it is an upsurge of delight that makes the whole body tremble. Sometimes it is a fullness that brings tears to the eyes. Sometimes it is a deep joy that makes the body feel light, as if floating. The highest is serene and stable bliss that leads on to tranquility and concentration. This shows that the joy factor is not a fleeting pleasant feeling. It is a deep inner energy that nourishes the path of awakening. The Buddha described in the Samanaphala Sutta that when one withdraws from sensuality and unwholesome states, joy and happiness arise. Here, joy does not come from seeking outwardly. It is the natural result of a mind freed from craving and anger. In other words, joy is a sign that the mind is going in the right direction. When a practitioner sits in meditation and the burdens on body and mind gradually lessen, a clear joy naturally arises. That is the joy factor. Look at daily life to understand this. A father returns home tired from work. Seeing his child run out to embrace him, his heart fills with joy. That joy does not come from money. It comes from genuine love. Likewise, when we do a wholesome deed, such as helping an elderly person cross the street or speaking a kind word, a light and glad feeling arises in the heart at once. That is the joy factor shining forth. A special point is that the joy factor cannot be forced. If we try to make ourselves joyful, that joy is only artificial. Joy appears only when the mind is truly nourished by mindfulness, investigation, and energy. Like a flower, we cannot pull it open to make it bloom faster. We simply tend the soil, water, and sunlight, and it blooms on its own. Joy is the natural result of practice. In the commentaries, joy is regarded as the companion that dispels anger. When the heart is full of pure joy, anger cannot intrude, just as darkness cannot remain when a lamp is burning bright. For this reason, among the 7 factors, joy has the function of countering anger and resentment. Many people live with heaviness and weariness because they have not learned how to nourish the joy factor. Goenka, who taught insight meditation around the world, often told students that when the mind is calm, joy will come naturally. Do not chase it. Do not cling to it. Simply observe. It will come and go and leave peace behind. This teaching is important because many practitioners, when they feel joy arise, become attached and want to hold that feeling. But if we cling, joy disappears. The right approach is simply to acknowledge it and smile, letting it become a natural source of motivation. Consider an example in practice. You sit quietly and follow the breath. After a while, the mind settles. You feel a cool current rising within the body. You feel light and the worries subside. That is the joy factor. If you continue steadily, that joy transforms into tranquility and then into concentration. Therefore, joy is not the stopping point. It is a bridge that leads the mind into deeper calm. In daily life, the joy factor helps us find happiness in simple things. Seeing a flower open, hearing birds sing, watching the morning light. If there is mindfulness, a gentle joy arises in the heart. That is the joy factor. In contrast, if the mind always seeks grand satisfactions, joy is hard to find. One who cultivates joy does not wait for something extraordinary. Each moment is enough for happiness. Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded us that happiness is not a destination. It is the way we walk. If we know how to breathe in mindfulness and step in peace, each moment is happiness. This is the living reality of the joy factor. It does not come from achieving something. It comes from a wakeful attitude toward what is already here. Another great benefit of joy is that it nourishes perseverance. When practice brings joy, we want to continue rather than feel forced. Beginners who have not yet tasted joy often lose heart. Once they experience this joy, meditation becomes a source of peace, and they naturally return to the Dhamma. This is the momentum that keeps the path from being broken. However, joy must also be balanced. If we indulge in joy too much, we may become excited and find it hard to keep the mind steady. Therefore, the Buddha taught that after joy comes the factor of tranquility to settle the mind. In this way, the 7 factors always operate through balance. One element lifts, another calms. Joy is a fresh and vital quality, but it must be joined with concentration and equanimity to become wisdom. There is a story of a monk who entered meditation and experienced such great joy that his whole body trembled and tears streamed down. Afterwards, he went to the Buddha and said, "Venerable Sir, I have never known such happiness." The Buddha smiled and said, "That is the joy of the Dhamma. Cherish it, but do not cling to it, because there are deeper levels of peace." This story shows that the joy factor is a milestone, not the final destination. The joy factor is the pure happiness that blossoms from practice. It dispels anger, nourishes well-being, and brightens the path. If the seven factors are a garden, joy is the radiant blossoms blooming within it. If the seven factors are a journey, joy is the song that lightens our steps. Whoever knows how to cultivate joy will never run dry of energy, for there is always a fresh inner stream flowing beneath. When mindfulness keeps the mind awake, investigation illuminates, energy propels, and joy brings gladness. Then body and mind naturally enter a gentle and quiet state. This is the factor of tranquility. It is the fifth factor among the seven factors of awakening, and it has the function of easing tension, dissolving agitation, and bringing a sense of serenity to body and mind. In Pali, tranquility is passaddhi, meaning calm, peace, and ease. The commentaries distinguish two kinds. Bodily tranquility means the body becomes soft and light. Mental tranquility means the heart becomes calm and free from agitation. These two usually accompany one another. When the mind settles, the body is light. When the body relaxes, the mind is at ease. The Buddha described the meditative process as a flow. From joy comes tranquility. From tranquility comes concentration. From concentration comes wisdom. This means tranquility is not an isolated state. It is the bridge between pure joy and steady concentration. If joy is like a cool stream rising, tranquility is the still lake that reflects the moon and stars. The scriptures record that when the mind is filled with joy, the body is pacified. When the body is pacified, the practitioner experiences tranquility. When tranquility is present, the mind becomes concentrated. This description is very concrete. Joy is the inspiration. Tranquility is the settling. Concentration is the stability. On the path of awakening, tranquility is a subtle yet essential transformation. Try a simple example from daily life. When you come home from work carrying a load of stress, if you know how to sit down and take a deep breath so that all worries pause for a moment, you will feel a gradual lightness as if a burden has been set down. That is tranquility. It does not come from having solved every problem, but from the capacity to let go in the present moment. A beautiful image in the commentaries says that tranquility is like a flock of birds that, after flying in confusion, now settles quietly on the branches. Everything becomes still, or like a lake that gradually becomes smooth and clear after the wind subsides. These images accurately describe what a practitioner feels when experiencing tranquility in meditation. The body is no longer tense. The mind is no longer swept by waves. Everything becomes light and calm. Ajahn Chah often taught that only when the body is at ease can the mind see the Dhamma. If the body is tense, the mind can hardly be bright. This teaching underscores that tranquility is a necessary condition for wisdom to appear. A person who is busy and tense, no matter how many books they read, will find it hard to see deep truths. When they know how to relax so body and mind are at ease, wisdom, like a clear mirror, can reflect. In daily life, the tranquility factor helps us rest in the right way. Some people think rest means watching television or scrolling on a phone, but the more they do that, the more agitated the mind becomes. Tranquility teaches us to rest with mindfulness. Sit quietly and breathe. Walk slowly. Drink a cup of tea in silence. These are moments that nurture tranquility so that body and mind truly recover. Another example. When we are angry, the whole body is tight and the breath is rough. If we stop, breathe deeply, and recognize the anger, then after a few minutes the body loosens and the mind cools. That relaxation is tranquility, and it is precisely tranquility that gives us enough calm not to say or do something we will regret. In the progression of the 7 factors of awakening, tranquility also counteracts the hindrance of restlessness and worry. When the mind keeps thinking in all directions and cannot stay in one place, tranquility is like a gentle hand placed on the shoulder, helping the mind to stop and cease its agitation. Therefore, practitioners who are often dominated by a restless mind need to cultivate the tranquility factor. Thich Nhat Hanh has a very tender instruction. Breathe as if you are holding a baby in your arms. If you breathe hastily, the baby will be afraid. If you breathe gently, the baby will sleep peacefully. Your mind is the same. Breathe with it gently. This is how to nurture tranquility. Rather than forcing the mind, we treat it kindly so that it settles by itself. One important point. Tranquility does not mean passivity or laziness. Some people hear at ease and think it means sitting and doing nothing. In fact, tranquility is ease within action, not being tense while still doing the work. For example, someone cooks in mindfulness, without rushing, without irritation. The hands are active, yet the mind remains at ease. That is tranquility in daily life. As tranquility develops, the practitioner feels the body become lighter. In meditation, some feel as if the body has no weight and is floating. Some feel the body dissolve and only a gentle breath remains. These experiences are not illusions. They are signs that the tranquility factor is present. However, one should not cling to these sensations, but simply acknowledge them and continue practicing. A story tells of a monk who asked the Buddha, "Venerable Sir, I often find my mind unsettled and hard to calm. How can my mind become peaceful?" The Buddha said, "Nurture mindfulness and joy. Then let the mind settle and tranquility will appear. From tranquility, you will come to concentration." This answer shows the causal connection. Mindfulness keeps the mind awake. Joy brings gladness. That gladness gradually settles into tranquility. The tranquility factor is the gentle ease of body and mind. It is like a lake that is smooth after the wind, like a bird at rest after a long flight. Tranquility helps us dissolve agitation, brings relaxation, and provides the foundation for entering concentration. If the 7 factors are a flower garden, tranquility is the cool breeze that makes the garden pleasant. If the 7 factors are a piece of music, tranquility is the rests that give the melody depth. Whoever knows how to cultivate tranquility will find life lighter and will no longer be swept away by storms. After body and mind have entered a light and easy state through the tranquility factor, the practitioner naturally steps into a new depth of practice. This is the factor of concentration. If mindfulness is wakefulness, investigation is analytic wisdom, energy is the driving power, joy is gladness, and tranquility is ease, then concentration is the collected steadiness of the mind that helps the practitioner stand firm like a mountain before storms. In Pali, concentration is samadhi, which means gathering, unifying, and bringing together. When the mind is not concentrated, it is like a stream of water scattered in many directions and cannot reflect any image clearly. When the mind is concentrated, it is like a clear and placid lake that can reflect the whole sky. The concentration factor is the ability to collect the mind upon a single object without distraction, from which deep wisdom arises. The Buddha taught that when the mind is concentrated, wisdom appears. When the mind is not concentrated, wisdom does not arise. This concise statement shows that concentration is a prerequisite for insight. One may read thousands of books, but if the mind is scattered, understanding remains mere information. When the mind is steady, even a falling leaf reveals impermanence. In meditative development, concentration has many levels. At first, there is access concentration, when the mind begins to be calm and is not pulled away so much. Then come the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, and the fourth jhana. Each level brings deeper ease and stronger unification. Yet at every level, the essence remains the ability to gather the mind and not let it wander. The concentration factor is not only for practitioners who enter very deep meditation. Anyone can cultivate it in daily life. Consider a simple example. When you read a book while your mind thinks of other things, you read the same passage again and again and understand nothing. When you focus completely, you understand at once and even feel inspired. That is the power of concentration. In work as well, 1 hour of focused attention is more effective than many hours of distraction. The concentration factor, therefore, is not only important in meditation, but is also a key to living effectively in everyday life. In the commentaries, concentration is likened to a lamp in a dark room. When the lamp flickers and the light is weak, we cannot see anything clearly. When the lamp burns steadily, everything appears distinctly. Likewise, when the mind lacks concentration, thoughts are chaotic and we cannot see the truth. When the mind is concentrated, the truth appears as it is. Ajahn Brahm often emphasizes that concentration is not forcing the mind into a corner, but a natural state when the mind abides at ease. He says, "When you hold a sleeping baby in your arms, you do not force it to sleep. You create warmth and safety, and it sleeps on its own." Concentration is the same. provide the conditions of mindfulness, joy, and tranquility. When these are complete, concentration comes by itself. There is no need to coerce it. This is a very compassionate and practical view. Concentration is not the product of compulsion, but the natural fruit of balanced practice. In daily life, the concentration factor helps us keep a steady mind amid storms. Faced with difficulties, those without concentration panic and make poor decisions. Those with concentration pause, keep calm, and thus respond with greater clarity. For example, when insulted, without concentration we react immediately, trading harsh words. With concentration, we stop and breathe so that the heat subsides before replying. This way of responding not only preserves harmony, but also expresses wisdom. Another benefit of the concentration factor is that it nourishes deep well-being. When the mind is concentrated and wandering thoughts subside, we experience an unconditional ease. This is a stable happiness that does not depend on circumstances. The Buddha called it pleasure born of concentration. Many practitioners report that even a few minutes of genuine concentration fill the heart with peace, far surpassing outward pleasures. In the progression of the 7 factors, concentration also counteracts the hindrance of restlessness. When the mind runs wild, concentration gathers it together, like a herd of wild horses brought under control so that all run in one direction and their power becomes immense. Thanks to concentration, practitioners can investigate impermanence, suffering, and non-self deeply and attain liberating wisdom. Master Pato often teaches that concentration is like solid ground. If the seed of wisdom is sown on firm earth, it can sprout and grow. If sown on loose sand, the seed is washed away. In other words, wisdom cannot stand without the foundation of concentration. This is why the Buddha consistently emphasized concentration in every path of practice. A story in the scriptures tells of a young monk who practiced with great zeal, but whose mind was always unsettled. The Buddha advised him, "Learn to collect the mind like a person carrying a brimming bowl of water through a crowded market. If careless, the water will spill. If mindful and concentrated, not a drop will fall." This metaphor shows that concentration is the ability to keep the mind unshaken even in the noise of life. In modern times, the concentration factor also helps us face the disease of distraction. Many people work while listening to music and checking their phones, and the result is superficial work and greater stress. With concentration, we do one thing at a time, with higher quality and a calmer mind. This is a very practical application. Concentration is not only for the meditation hall, it is a secret of success in work and study. In sum, the concentration factor is the power of focus, the ability to gather the mind so that wisdom arises. If the 7 factors are a mountain, concentration is its bedrock. If the 7 factors are a river, concentration is the deep riverbed through which the water flows without drying up. Whoever cultivates concentration will have a calm and steady mind, unshaken by storms, and will thereby see the liberating truth. Having gone through mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, and concentration, the practitioner comes to a pivotal factor that keeps the mind balanced and complete, the factor of equanimity. If the previous 6 are the working arms, equanimity is the heart that keeps everything in harmonious motion. In Pali, equanimity is called upekkha, whose root meaning is to look on with serene impartiality. Equanimity is not indifference or apathy, nor is it coldness towards suffering. It is a balanced, lucid, compassionate mind that does not cling. One endowed with equanimity is not swayed by praise and blame, gain and loss, success and failure, love and hate. The Buddha taught that when the mind has equanimity, it is not polluted by greed and anger, like clear water that is not muddied by silt. Here is a beautiful image. Clear water reflects everything yet holds on to nothing. So it is with the mind of equanimity. It meets all things without being bound, leaving no trace of grasping. In the commentaries, equanimity is described in several degrees. At a basic level, it is restraint, the ability not to react to what is unpleasant. At a deeper level, it is an even attitude toward all feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. At the highest level, it is the balance of wisdom that has clearly seen impermanence, suffering, and non-self. then the mind is no longer attached to any object, whether happiness or pain. Consider an example from daily life. When someone praises you, without equanimity, you easily give rise to craving, wanting more praise, trying to protect a favorable image. When someone criticizes you, you easily become angry, sad, or resentful. With equanimity, you simply smile. This is just a sound, an opinion. It comes and it goes. This attitude does not make you numb. It makes you free, no longer led by the nose by praise and blame. Thich Nhat Hanh often said, "To love without holding on, that is equanimity." This clarifies the difference. Equanimity does not mean abandonment. It is love with a wide, open heart, free of possessiveness. A mother who loves her child without binding them, allowing the child the freedom to live their own life. That is equanimity within love. In meditation, the equanimity factor is the summit of psychological balance. After the mind has passed through joy and tranquility and becomes steady in concentration, the practitioner enters equanimity, a mind that is serene and lucid, no longer shaken. Many describe equanimity as sitting amid a sea of fire while the heart remains as cool as a lake. This is the experience of a mind no longer dominated by conditions. An important function of the equanimity factor is to counter the hindrances of desire and ill will. With equanimity, the mind is neither pulled toward nor pushed away. For example, when seeing a delicious dish, with equanimity we simply note delicious without needing to crave it or reject it. When meeting a difficult person, with equanimity we simply note unpleasant without needing to get angry or to pretend cheerfulness. Such balance frees us in every situation. Ajahn Chah has a famous saying, "If you hold tight, you hurt. If you let go, you are light." Equanimity is the art of letting go in the right way. This teaching reminds us that equanimity is not indifference. It is intelligent release, knowing that clinging only adds to suffering. In modern life, the equanimity factor is exceedingly necessary. Today's society sweeps us into cycles of comparison, winning and losing, rich and poor, beautiful and ugly. Without equanimity, we rise and fall with those waves. One day praise makes us happy, the next day blame makes us sad, and the mind never rests. Equanimity helps us stand firm and not be controlled by external conditions. A familiar example. On social media, some people praise your post and others criticize it. If you lack equanimity, you either soar or sink. With equanimity, you regard them as opinions and do not let the mind be shaken. Thus, you continue to do what is beneficial without being driven by praise or blame. In insight meditation, equanimity also keeps the practitioner from clinging to meditative states. After joy, tranquility, and concentration, craving can arise, and we want to keep these feelings forever. If we cling, we get stuck. Equanimity reminds us that this feeling is also impermanent, so let it go. Thanks to this, the practitioner does not stop, but continues toward liberating wisdom. A scripture tells of a monk who entered deep meditation and experienced great joy, then became attached to it. The Buddha taught him to practice equanimity. Only when the mind is serene and unattached does wisdom blaze forth. This shows that equanimity is the key that opens the final door. Sayadaw U Tejaniya often emphasizes, observe everything as it comes and goes, neither clinging nor pushing away. That is equanimity. This reminds us that equanimity is not far away. In each breath and each feeling we can practice equanimity by observing and releasing. The equanimity factor is ultimate balance. It frees the mind from craving and aversion. It stands firm amid praise and blame and lets us love without possessing. If the 7 factors are a wheel, equanimity is the hub that keeps the wheel turning evenly. If the 7 factors are a musical instrument, equanimity is the conductor who keeps every string in harmony. Whoever cultivates equanimity has a free, lucid, and peaceful heart in a turbulent world. One of the features that makes the 7 factors special is their balance. The Buddha did not tell us to cultivate a single element in isolation. He pointed to a system of 7 elements that complement and regulate one another, keeping the mind from extremes. We can say the 7 factors are the living embodiment of the middle way, far from both laxity and rigidity. In the scriptures, The Buddha explained that the 7 factors are divided into 2 groups. The first lifts the mind and arouses energy, investigation of states, energy, and joy. The second soothes and settles the mind, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. At the center stands mindfulness, the coordinating element that observes and knows when each group is needed. Through this mechanism, the 7 factors operate like a self-regulating system. When the mind is weak, there are factors that lift it. When the mind is too tight, there are factors that calm it. A striking image in the commentaries says that the 7 factors are like an orchestra with lower-toned and higher-toned instruments, all needing a conductor to bring them together. Mindfulness is that conductor. With only low tones, the music is dull. With only high tones, it becomes harsh. Only when both are harmonized at the right time does a balanced melody arise. Likewise, the mind is truly balanced only when all 7 factors operate fully without bias. Consider an example from daily life. At times you feel discouraged and tired, with no motivation. Then you need the uplifting group. Reflect to see the meaning of practice, which is investigation. Make an effort, which is energy. Nurture gladness, which is joy. At other times you feel overly tense and excited, as if about to explode. Then return to the calming group. Relax and soften. Cultivate tranquility. Keep the mind collected and let everything pass in serenity, which is equanimity. In both cases, mindfulness is needed to observe where the mind is and to choose the appropriate factor. The Buddha once used the image of a musician to teach Venerable Sona, a very energetic monk who became exhausted. He said, "If the lute string is too tight, it snaps. If too loose, it does not sound. Only when tuned just right does it sing beautifully." This is a perfect illustration of the balance of the 7 factors. Excessive energy becomes tension. Excessive equanimity becomes laziness. We must adjust like a musician to achieve harmony. This balance is crucial in meditation. Many beginners either fall into sloth and torpor or into restlessness with the mind running everywhere. The Buddha taught, if there is sloth and torpor, arouse investigation, energy, and joy. If there is restlessness, cultivate tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. With mindfulness to recognize, adjust skillfully. This is the art of meditation, not forcing the mind into a rigid mold, but responding fluidly to its actual state. Ajahn Acha often taught his students, do not try to force the mind to be still, and do not let it wander wherever it wants. Observe and adjust. When it is too weak, stir up energy. When it is too strong, relax. That is balanced practice. This clarifies the role of mindfulness in maintaining equilibrium between the 2 groups of factors. In daily life, the balance of the 7 factors is also of great value. Faced with difficulties, many people fall into 2 extremes, either giving up or pushing themselves too hard. Both bring more suffering. One who applies the 7 factors is flexible. When the mind is weak, they encourage themselves with a reminder or a small good deed. When the mind is tight, they stop, breathe deeply, and drink a cup of tea to settle. This way of living prevents burnout and also avoids negligence. A very familiar example at work. Some people, driven by ambition, work until they are exhausted and ill. Others relax so much that nothing is accomplished. Applying the 7 factors, one knows when to energize, when to calm, and when to release. As a result, life becomes both effective and peaceful. In the scriptures, the Buddha also calls the 7 factors medicine for the illnesses of the mind. When the illness is sloth and torpor, the medicine is energy, investigation, and joy. When the illness is restlessness, the medicine is tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. When the illness is doubt, the medicine is mindfulness. Thus, the 7 factors are both therapeutic and preventive. Those who practice regularly rarely fall into extremes, just as those who eat moderately are seldom ill. Thich Nhat Hanh uses a very poetic expression. The 7 factors are 7 blossoms. Some bring joy and some bring peace. Only when all 7 bloom is the garden of the heart complete. That complete garden symbolizes balance. A garden of only brilliant flowers without gentle green is dazzling to the eyes. A garden of only green without flowers is dull. Only with both leaves and blossoms is the garden beautiful. In modern psychology, people also emphasize balance between the 2 nervous systems, the sympathetic system and the calming parasympathetic system. The 7 factors of awakening correspond in a marvelous way. Investigation, energy, and joy activate vitality. Tranquility, concentration, and equanimity soothe it. Mindfulness plays the coordinating role. This shows that the Buddha's wisdom is not only true within religion, but also aligns with science. The balance of the 7 factors is the secret for traveling the long road. It prevents the mind from falling into extremes and keeps life both peaceful and progressive. If the 7 factors are a boat, balance is the rudder that keeps the boat from capsizing. If the 7 factors are a journey, balance is the steady cadence that keeps us from tired. Whoever knows how to cultivate this balance is walking the very middle way the Buddha pointed out. The Buddha often compared the path of practice to a river crossing. On this shore lie ignorance and defilements. On the far shore lie peace and liberation. On that voyage, 2 opposing forces are always at work. On one side are the 5 hindrances, the invisible ropes that bind the mind and keep the boat from sailing far. On the other side are the 7 factors of awakening, the sails that catch the wind and carry the boat over the waves to open water. If we speak only of the awakening factors and forget the hindrances, we will not understand why the path is difficult. If we see only the hindrances and do not know the factors of awakening, we will not find the medicine. Therefore, understanding the relationship between the 7 factors and the 5 hindrances is the key that helps practitioners apply the Dhamma to self-healing and progress. In the discourses, the 5 hindrances are regarded as the greatest obstacles to concentration and wisdom. They are sensual desire, the craving that clings to the 5 sensual objects; ill will, the aversion and irritation toward disagreeable situations; sloth and torpor, the laziness and sleepiness that cloud the mind; restlessness and remorse, the agitation, fretting, and unease; and finally doubt, the wavering that keeps the mind from trusting the path to liberation. They are called hindrances because they cover over and weigh down the mind, like a curtain that blocks the light from shining through. The Buddha likened the 7 factors to 7 medicinal herbs that heal the mind, each factor capable of countering a hindrance. The mindfulness factor is the dose for doubt, because when the mind is alert and clearly knows what it is doing, doubt has nowhere to cling. The investigation factor shatters delusion, because with examination and analysis we discern the wholesome from the unwholesome. The energy factor opposes sloth and torpor and brings lively vigor. The joy factor dissolves ill will, because when the heart is filled with pure gladness there is no room for anger. The tranquility factor soothes restlessness and settles the mind. The concentration factor gathers the scattered mind into steady unification. The equanimity factor neutralizes craving and aversion and keeps the mind from being pulled or pushed. Thus, the 7 factors operate as a comprehensive therapeutic system, both clarifying the mind and healing it at the root. To make this concrete, consider a few everyday situations. Someone is working but the mind keeps drifting to a new movie. That is sensual desire. If one pauses and arouses mindfulness, simply recognizing that the mind is being pulled away, the pull of desire immediately weakens. Someone is insulted and anger surges. But if they remember the joy factor, find a simple, wholesome gladness, or arouse compassion for the other person, the anger gradually subsides. A meditator is overwhelmed by drowsiness. If they rouse energy by changing posture, doing walking meditation, or recalling the ideal of liberation, sloth and torpor retreat. When the mind is uneasy and jumps from one thought to another, tranquility is the medicine. Relax the shoulders, take a deep breath, and the mind becomes light and calm. The commentaries compare the hindrances to weeds in a rice field. If we do not pull the weeds, the rice cannot grow. The awakening factors are the diligent farmer who knows how to weed, water, and fertilize. Likewise, hindrances and factors cannot both flourish at the same time. When one side grows, the other naturally wanes. The Buddha also compared the hindrances to muddy water that prevents clarity. The awakening factors are like wind and sunlight that make the mud settle so the surface becomes clear. When the water is clear, we see the bottom. When the mind is clear, we see the truth. Master Antra often taught, when the mind is unsettled, do not try to force it and do not run away. Look directly to see which hindrance is binding you. then nourish the appropriate factor to counter it. This instruction suggests a very practical approach. Practice is not forcing the mind, but a process of observing and adjusting. Master Maha Sato emphasized that mindfulness and investigation are the two strongest weapons for breaking the hindrances. When mindfulness is present, we recognize the truth. When investigation illuminates, we discern clearly. These two are enough for the other factors to follow, and the hindrances have no place to remain. Modern life is full of manifestations of the hindrances. Work pressure, social media, and advertising constantly pull the mind toward desire. Competition and conflict increase anger. A hectic pace exhausts people, leading to sloth and torpor. Technology fires off endless notifications that agitate the mind. Information overload breeds doubt and erodes trust. If we look closely, we see the 5 hindrances not only in the meditation hall, but in every corner of life. And the 7 factors are precisely the remedy. When anxious, return to mindfulness. When weary, rouse energy. When angry, find pure joy. When tense, relax to cultivate tranquility. When scattered, build concentration. When attached, practice equanimity. In this way, the 7 factors become the most effective mental therapy for people today. A wonderful point is that the 7 factors are not a rigid formula. We do not need to think, I have this hindrance, I must apply that factor. With mindfulness alone, the mind naturally selects the appropriate element. Mindfulness is like the physician who diagnoses. Once the illness is seen rightly, the medicine will be applied at the right time. When mindfulness is present, the whole system of awakening factors operates automatically, countering the hindrances with flexibility. Today's scientists call the 5 hindrances cognitive barriers. They reduce memory, weaken attention, and increase anxiety. They also confirm that the states corresponding to the awakening factors, such as mindfulness, motivation, joy, relaxation, focus, and balance, all benefit the brain and make people clearer and more at ease. This shows that the wisdom the Buddha discovered more than 2,000 years ago is not removed from science, but far ahead of it. When we understand the relationship between the 7 factors of awakening and the 5 hindrances, we are like a physician who knows both the illness and the cure. When sensual desire arises, we apply equanimity. When anger surges, we cultivate joy. When sloth and torpor descend, we arouse energy. When restlessness and worry appear, we cultivate tranquility. When doubt dominates, we return to mindfulness. In this way, the mind is no longer veiled, but gradually becomes clear. If the hindrances are darkness, the awakening factors are light. If the hindrances are a headwind, the awakening factors are the sail. A skillful practitioner knows how to trim the sail to catch the wind and guide the boat toward the shore of awakening. In the discourses, the Buddha teaches that the 7 factors are not only for secluded practitioners in forests or meditation halls, but for everyone living in the midst of daily life. If the first 6 factors are doors that lead the mind into calm, then in everyday life the 7 factors become a compass, helping us pass through ups and downs while keeping our peace. One common mistake is to think the 7 factors only matter while sitting in meditation and have nothing to do with work, shopping, or raising children. In truth, it is precisely in those busy times that the 7 factors reveal their value. The mindfulness factor is present when we come back to the present moment in small things. When washing the dishes, we know we are washing the dishes. When listening to our child, we are truly present, not letting the mind run after the phone or our work. Thanks to mindfulness, we can savor life here and now, instead of letting our days slip by in forgetfulness. The investigation factor is present in every choice. Faced with a difficult decision, we can pause and ask whether this choice will bring well-being to ourselves and others. Does it nourish happiness or produce more suffering? That question is an expression of investigation, helping us discern wholesome and unwholesome in each moment. The energy factor in daily life is not forcing ourselves to work to exhaustion, but steadily cultivating good habits. Each day, spending a few minutes to sit quietly and breathe and to contemplate is energy. Each time we face anger and remember to breathe instead of shouting, that is also energy. No need for grand gestures. Consistent small acts accumulate into the strength that transforms. There will be times when we feel tired, tense, and quick to anger. then the joy factor is the needed medicine. Pure joy does not come from material things, but from an appreciative attitude towards simple things. Seeing a flower open, hearing a bird sing, or simply sitting at ease with the breath is enough for joy to arise. When joy is present, anger can hardly take hold because joy softens the heart. This is why in many retreats teachers encourage a gentle smile so that joy is nourished in each breath. The tranquility factor appears when we know how to stop and put things down, not chasing endless tasks. Instead of scrolling the phone until our eyes ache, turn it off, walk slowly, and breathe fresh air. Just a few minutes like that, and the body is light, the mind is soft. Tranquility is not laziness. It is the art of resting well. It is tranquility that keeps us from burning out and preserves the quality of our lives. The concentration factor in daily life is the ability to focus. When eating, just eat. When working, just work. When listening to someone, truly listen. Modern society scatters the mind. People often multitask, and the result is shallow work and easy stress. If we apply the concentration factor, we do less but go deeper. The quality of our work rises and the mind rests in calm. This is why scientists today praise deep work, which the Buddha pointed to more than 2,000 years ago. The equanimity factor is the attitude most needed in daily interactions. Everyone must face praise and blame, gain and loss, success and failure. Without equanimity, we rise and fall with each wave and never know lasting happiness. One with equanimity smiles at praise without conceit and smiles at blame without suffering. Equanimity is not indifference. It is serene clarity. A father who loves his child without trying to possess them. A companion who walks alongside without binding. That is equanimity in everyday love. Looking back, we see the 7 factors present in every activity. Mindfulness while eating, investigation while choosing, energy while sustaining good habits, joy while savoring life, tranquility while resting, concentration while working, equanimity while responding. There is no need to separate life from practice, because life itself is the field where the 7 factors bloom. Thich Nhat Hanh often says that with each mindful step, a factor of awakening blossoms. This sentence fully expresses the practical spirit of the 7 factors. They are not far away but present in our steps, our breath, our smile, and our daily words. Whoever applies them in this way turns every day into a day of practice and every small act into Dhamma. Modern life brings much pressure. People easily fall into stress, anxiety, and insomnia. The 7 factors are a precious medicine for self-healing. When anxious, nurture mindfulness. When weary, encourage energy. When angry, find a small joy. When tense, rest to cultivate tranquility. When scattered, focus with concentration. When shaken, return to equanimity. Each factor is like a medicinal herb that together forms a complete remedy. When the 7 factors are present in our lives, practice is no longer a burden but a joy. We do not need to wait for free time to practice, nor step outside life to follow the Dhamma. This very life, in all its situations, is the opportunity to nourish the 7 factors. Shopping, cooking, driving, working, all can become the path if we live with mindfulness, concentration, and equanimity. In conclusion, the 7 factors of awakening in daily life are the embodiment of the path in every moment. They keep us from forgetfulness and free us from the bondage of defilements, so we live in freedom and peace. If the 7 factors are 7 petals of awakening, then daily life is the garden where those petals bloom. Anyone, whether layperson or monastic, can tend that garden so that each day brings a little more awakening. Today, as neuroscience and psychology advance, many researchers are turning their attention to Buddhist practices. What surprises them is that the teachings the Buddha gave more than 2,000 years ago, especially the 7 factors of awakening, align strikingly with modern scientific findings. This shows that the Dhamma is not only spiritually meaningful, but also a practical method for nurturing mental and physical health. First, scientists confirm that the human brain is often dominated by states corresponding to the 5 hindrances: anxiety, anger, doubt, lethargy, and restlessness. Brain scan studies show that when people fall into these states, the amygdala becomes highly active and triggers fear and stress responses that impair memory and concentration. By contrast, When people practice mindfulness and meditation, that is, when they cultivate the 7 factors of awakening, the brain regions related to focus, positive emotion, and compassion become strongly engaged. This explains why long-term practitioners often have a calm presence, gentle faces, and clear memory, even in old age. The mindfulness factor, when practiced in Western mindfulness programs, has been shown to reduce stress, improve memory, and increase effective work capacity. Many hospitals have introduced mindfulness into treatment for patients with cancer, depression, and anxiety disorders, and the results are very promising. What the Buddha called wakefulness in each breath and each step is now recognized by science as a leading method of mental therapy. Viewed from psychology, the investigation factor is the capacity for self-observation and analysis that science calls metacognition. One with metacognition can recognize when they are falling into error and adjust in time. This ability is crucial for avoiding depression and anxiety. Long ago, the Buddha taught that practitioners must observe phenomena and distinguish wholesome from unwholesome so they are not led by ignorance. Science today has only begun to name and verify the power of this ability. Scientists regard the energy factor as durable motivation. Modern psychology speaks of grit, perseverance that does not give up, which is seen as a predictor of success even more important than intelligence. One who has energy is not seduced by short-term gratification, but walks the long path to reach the goal. This accords with the Buddha's teaching that only steady effort day after day leads to liberation. From the lens of neuroscience, the joy factor is a state in which the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters that generate happiness. What is notable is that joy in practice does not depend on external objects, but arises from the mind itself when it is free from greed and anger. Research shows that people who practice compassion meditation and mindfulness often have stable dopamine levels that help them sustain positive effect over time. This is a durable happiness that does not drop quickly like the pleasures of the senses. Modern medicine calls the tranquility factor the relaxation response. When people release tension and breathe deeply, the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, heart rate and blood pressure fall, and the muscles relax. Physicians such as Herbert Benson have affirmed that with only a few minutes of meditation each day, the body can heal many stress-related disorders. The Buddha taught tranquility long ago as an essential factor of awakening. Science describes the concentration factor as a state of high focus or flow, in which a person is fully absorbed in an activity and performs at an exceptional level. Studies show that long-term meditation thickens the prefrontal cortex, the region that governs attention. This is clear evidence that concentration is not only a religious concept, but a measurable capacity in science. In psychology, the equanimity factor corresponds to balanced mind. Researchers find that people who can remain steady in the face of praise and blame, gain and loss, tend to suffer less stress, have lower rates of cardiovascular disease, and live longer. The Buddha pointed this out more than 2,000 years ago. One with equanimity is free, not driven by craving or aversion, and lives peacefully amid change. An interesting point is that the 7 factors benefit not only individual psychology, but society as a whole. Social scientists affirm that people who practice mindfulness and maintain balance tend to listen better, resolve conflict more skillfully, and radiate calm to those around them. This matches the image in the scriptures that a monk who perfects the 7 factors not only frees himself, but becomes a lamp that illuminates the world. More broadly, the 7 factors can be seen as a bridge between the sacred and the secular, between religion and science. A Buddhist sees them as a path to awakening. An outsider sees them as methods of therapy and character development. From any angle, their value does not change. They bring peace to body and mind, wisdom to life, and harmony to the community. When we read modern scientific studies, we are sometimes surprised to find that they are only now confirming what the Buddha pointed out long ago. Rather than saying science is late, we can smile because this convergence shows that truth does not belong to one religion or one era. Truth is timeless reality, and the 7 factors are part of that truth. Under the light of modern science, the 7 factors reveal ever more clearly the Buddha's extraordinary wisdom. He is not only a spiritual master, but also a psychologist and a scientist of the mind. The 7 factors are both the path to final liberation and a medicine for people today. If we apply them, we not only live peacefully in the present, but also contribute to the peace of society and the world. In meditation, the 7 factors are not theoretical notions to memorize. They are living elements that appear, nourish, and support the practitioner step by step on the path of direct realization. The Buddha often reminded us that as a practitioner cultivates mindfulness of breathing, the 7 factors of awakening arise in turn and, when developed fully, lead the mind to liberation. Therefore, understanding how the 7 factors operate in the meditative process is essential so that we are not confused by mental states, but know how to welcome and nurture them properly. At first, when the practitioner sits down and places the mind on the breath, the mindfulness factor arises. Here, mindfulness is continuous recognition, knowing that one is breathing in and breathing out, not letting the mind run after distractions. When mindfulness is sustained, the investigation factor naturally appears and helps the practitioner observe more deeply. Is the breath long or short? Is the mind scattered or steady? Are the feelings pleasant or unpleasant? Through this observation, the practitioner discerns which phenomena nourish practice and which should be released. From there, the energy factor is activated and brings the power to sustain the practice. Without energy, mindfulness becomes intermittent and investigation becomes lax. With energy present, the whole process gains stability. As the practitioner continues, the joy factor now arises. This joy does not come from thinking about anything outside. It is the pure gladness that appears when the mind abides in the present. Some people, for the first time sitting quietly, feel a happiness as if they have found their true home. As joy grows, the body and mind become lighter. From there, tranquility appears. The body relaxes, the mind becomes less agitated, the breath softens, and everything feels easeful. Many practitioners report that when tranquility is present, it is as if the body dissolves. Only a gentle rhythm of breathing remains, and the mind is filled with ease. On the foundation of tranquility, the concentration factor develops. The mind no longer chases after fantasies or is swayed by externals, but rests on a single object, most often the breath or the felt sense of the whole body. Concentration leads the practitioner into deeper absorptions, where the mind is still like a glass-smooth lake. When concentration is steady, wisdom can arise to contemplate impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Finally, the equanimity factor appears as the pinnacle of the process. The mind is balanced and clear, untouched by greed or aversion, neither clinging to pleasure nor fearing pain. Importantly, the 7 factors do not arise once and for all. They circulate continuously, supporting one another at each phase of meditation. When the mind is tired, investigation, energy, and joy need to be aroused to lift it up. When the mind is tense, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity need to be cultivated to settle it down. Mindfulness stands at the center, observing and coordinating like a conductor leading an orchestra. Thanks to this balancing mechanism, the practitioner avoids extremes. Not too tight and not too lax, not lost in pleasure and not sunk in torpor. Teachers often compare the 7 factors to rungs of a ladder. As we climb, we do not skip a rung but go step by step. At first, when we sit, mindfulness may be weak and thoughts may surge. With patience, mindfulness strengthens. When mindfulness is sufficient, investigation naturally arises, followed by energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity, flowing one into another like a stream. Without understanding this, we may become discouraged when concentration or equanimity has not yet appeared, forgetting that everything begins with mindfulness and requires time. Ajahn Brahm often reminds students, do not force the mind to hurry. Let it be like a flower. With enough sun and water, it will bloom. You cannot pull the petals to make it open faster. This is the right attitude for nurturing the 7 factors in meditation. No impatience, no craving for special states, simply steady cultivation. When the conditions are ripe, the factors will arise on their own, like flowers opening naturally in spring. Another important point is that the 7 factors are present not only in sitting meditation, but also in walking, standing, lying down, and in every mindful activity. Walking slowly with mindful steps, mindfulness shines. Noticing whether the mind is tight or relaxed, investigation is present. Continuing without quitting, energy is sustained. When the steps grow light and a smile appears, joy is there. As the body eases, tranquility develops. When the mind stands firm in each step, concentration is present. Seeing all around with a calm, non-clinging gaze, equanimity is nourished. The full 7 factors can blossom in a single period of mindful walking. In the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha states plainly, practicing full mindfulness of breathing fulfills the 7 factors of awakening, and when these are fulfilled, liberating wisdom appears. This shows the tight link between meditative practice and the realization of awakening. The 7 factors are not theory, they are a living map for the path. Many practitioners, after tasting some joy or tranquility, tend to cling and try to hold those states. But the Buddha warned that clinging to feelings stalls progress. Here the equanimity factor plays a crucial role, reminding us that all states, pleasant or unpleasant, are impermanent. Observe, smile, and let go. Thanks to equanimity, the practitioner does not stop halfway but continues toward liberation. Looking back over the whole meditative process, we see the 7 factors turn like a perfect circle, beginning with mindfulness, moving through investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity, and from equanimity returning to mindfulness at a deeper level. This circle keeps revolving, lifting the mind from coarse to subtle, from agitation to stillness, from ignorance to wisdom. This is the road the Buddhas and saints have walked, and it is open to all who practice. In deep meditation, the 7 factors manifest as the sequential unfolding of wisdom and peace. They keep the practitioner from going astray or stopping short, leading straight to final freedom. If meditation is a sea voyage across the ocean of ignorance, the 7 factors are 7 guiding stars. Whoever steers by these stars will not lose the way and will surely reach the shore of awakening. When people hear of the 7 factors, many assume they are meant only for secluded meditators in halls or mountain forests. In fact, the value of these 7 elements does not stop at the individual. It radiates into community and society. The Buddha taught not only for one person's liberation, but for the well-being and harmony of entire communities, reducing conflict and suffering. The human mind is the root of social problems. If individuals cultivate the 7 factors, families, neighborhoods, nations, and the world all benefit. First, the mindfulness factor helps communities live awake, not swept along by unconscious habits. In a society where people practice mindfulness, accidents, violence, and irresponsibility decline. For example, if drivers remain mindful, aware that they are driving and not using their phones, accidents drop sharply. In meetings, if everyone practices mindfulness, truly listening to the speaker, misunderstandings lessen and respect and understanding increase. The investigation factor has great social impact too. When a society uses wisdom to distinguish right from wrong and wholesome from unwholesome, it avoids many bad decisions. A community without investigation is easily led by fake news, blind trends, or empty promises. By contrast, a community with a reflective spirit, able to analyze and choose what benefits the common good in the long run, will develop sustainably. The same holds in a family. If parents think things through rather than chasing short-term gains, the children inherit a solid foundation. The energy factor at the community level appears as a shared spirit of diligence and responsibility. A group in which people apply steady effort to wholesome work, without negligence, will prosper and endure. If everyone is lazy and relies on others, the society weakens. Energy is not only a personal effort, but a collective momentum. When a whole community strives together, that power spreads and produces remarkable results. The joy factor in society is shared gladness, not one person's private pleasure. When a village builds a temple together, or paves a road, or plants trees, the joy belongs to all. Pure joy appears when people do good together, share, and support one another. A society without joy easily falls into boredom and conflict because everyone cares only for private interest. A society with joy is full of vitality, like a great family that knows how to smile and encourage each other. Tranquility in collective life is the capacity to pause so society is not swept into a vortex of tension. When a nation chases only economic growth while neglecting rest and balance, exhaustion will come. Tranquility reminds us that communities also need pauses, wholesome festivals, spiritual gatherings, and moments when people simply sit together in silence. That is the breath that keeps society from becoming rigid. Applied to the collective, the concentration factor is focus on a shared goal. A society scattered by 1,000 narrow interests can hardly develop. But if there is concentration, if people unite around noble aims such as preserving peace, protecting the environment, and nurturing culture, this strength converges and produces great achievements. Concentration in community is like a river flowing in one channel. Its power can turn a hydroelectric turbine and bring light to countless homes. Equanimity in society is a calm, unbiased stance. A community that knows equanimity will not be split by discrimination or blinded by hatred. It sees one another with equality. Equanimity does not mean indifference to injustice. It means not letting greed and anger rule while addressing injustice. When a community handles problems with equanimity, decisions become clearer and less distorted by extreme emotions. In short, the 7 factors of awakening are 7 core values for building a healthy society. If each person cultivates them, families will see fewer conflicts, neighborhoods will be more cohesive, and nations will face fewer wars. Today, the world confronts many crises: environmental degradation, spreading wars, and a loss of trust. All arise from the human mind: greed, hatred, and delusion. The medicine the Buddha offered humanity is precisely the 7 factors. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that one does not practice only for oneself, but for ancestors, family, and society. When you breathe mindfully, you are soothing the world's suffering. This shows that the 7 factors are not a private affair, but a contribution to the community. As each person practices, the community enjoys the radiance of peace. If we imagine the 7 factors in communal life, they are like 7 pillars supporting a shared house. Mindfulness keeps the house from leaning. Investigation keeps it bright. Energy makes it sturdy. Joy makes it cheerful. Tranquility makes it comfortable. Concentration makes it solid. Equanimity keeps it balanced. A community with all 7 pillars will be stable, peaceful, and enduring. Looking back over the whole process, the 7 factors are not dry concepts to memorize, but living elements present in every step, every breath, every decision. The Buddha handed us a detailed map to travel from confusion to awakening, from suffering to peace, from ignorance to wisdom. These 7 are 7 lamps lighting the spiritual path and 7 medicines healing the wounds of the human heart. Mindfulness brings us back to the present so the mind does not fall into forgetfulness. Investigation gives us the wisdom to discern good from evil and truth from falsehood, so we do not stray into superstition or wrong views. Energy gives us the power to go forward and not give up halfway. Joy offers pure happiness, so the path is not dry but full of vitality. Tranquility relaxes body and mind, so we are not ruled by tension or anxiety. Concentration steadies and unifies the mind, opening the door to deep insight. And equanimity keeps everything in balance. No extremes, no clinging, not swayed by praise or blame. Together, all 7 weave a complete process that carries us from ordinary person to sage, from suffering to liberation. Even viewed only as an individual practice, the 7 factors have immense value. But seen more broadly, they provide a foundation for a wholesome community and a harmonious society. When people live with mindfulness, investigation, and equanimity, families have fewer conflicts, neighborhoods hold fewer grudges, and nations gain greater peace. Thus, the 7 factors are not just a monastic path, but a path for all humanity. The Buddha is called teacher not only because he shows the way to nirvana, but because he shows people how to live peacefully in daily life. Today, the world faces many crises. The environment is ravaged, society is violent, and people lose faith. These crises are not only economic or political, their root is still the human mind. Where minds brim with greed, society has corruption. Where minds brim with anger, the world has war. Where minds brim with delusion, humanity creates disaster. To heal the world, we cannot treat only the outside. We must begin within. And the 7 factors are the medicine that heals at the root. As one practices, the 7 factors gradually bring ease and clarity. That peace spreads to one's family, and from family to community. A group that cultivates the 7 factors becomes a sangha, able to support one another and inspire society. When many such sanghas exist, the world will slowly change. This is the Dharma's power of diffusion. The Buddha said one lamp can light thousands of other lamps without losing its light. The 7 factors are such a lamp. What matters is that the 7 factors of awakening are not just for reading or listening. If we stop at knowledge, they remain mere words. The Buddha emphasized, the Dharma is like a finger pointing to the moon. Do not mistake the finger for the moon. The 7 factors are the finger. The practitioner must practice to see the real moon for themselves. Sit down and breathe with mindfulness. Investigate phenomena, arouse energy, nourish joy, feel tranquility, enter concentration, and maintain equanimity. Each time you practice in this way, the 7 factors are being cultivated and step by step bring you closer to awakening. Master Ancha often said, the Dharma is not far away, it is right in your own mind. Look into the mind, and you will see the 7 factors waiting to be awakened. Thich Nhat Hanh also reminds us, do not think happiness lies at the end of the road. Happiness is the road itself. If you walk with mindfulness, concentration, and equanimity, each step is already awakening. These teachings stress that the 7 factors are not something mystical, but a living reality available today if we know how to return to ourselves. Some think the 7 factors are a distant ideal, but in truth, they already dwell within us. Each time we remember to breathe, that is mindfulness. Each time we weigh right and wrong, that is investigation. Each time we strive to keep precepts and do good, that is energy. Each time we smile at a small joy, that is joy. Each time we release the body after a hard day, that is tranquility. Each time we focus on a task, that is concentration. And each time we let go of an attachment, that is equanimity. The 7 factors are not gifts from outside, but seeds already within. Practice is simply the watering that helps those seeds grow and bloom. In conclusion, the 7 factors of awakening are a path of enlightenment and happiness, the distilled wisdom of the Buddha, an invaluable spiritual heritage for humankind. They are not only for monastics, but for everyone. Anyone, wherever they are, whatever their profession or circumstances, can practice to nurture these 7 elements in daily life. When each person takes one step, society takes a step, and the world takes a step. And the path does not lead somewhere far away, but brings us back to ourselves, back to our innate peace. If the 7 factors are 7 lamps, then when each person lights their own, the whole world grows radiant. That is the Buddha's timeless message. Happiness is not far away. Enlightenment is not mysterious, but the mindfulness, wisdom, and balance lived in each breath and each step of our lives.